You can kind of see what I've got in mind for the additional 4 batteries. I originally had this bit still in there, and I had some intentions of mounting the DC-DC converter on top of this, but in the end that wasn't actually necessary because I mounted the DC-DC converter underneath the motor controller, and so I had all this additional space in the tank, so I cut that out. Okay, well, it's taken a little bit of time, but I finally got the tank batteries all wired up. So as you can see, I've also cleaned up all of the all of the cuts a little bit, made sure they've got some paint over them. I've used some P18 on the inside to make sure I don't have rust issues again. I've got the drain outlet from the fuel cap connected up to a hose, so that's going to go down to the bottom of the bike, so I don't have drain water basically running down right into the electronics. The 4 batteries nicely held in place. In the front here, they actually squished together very nicely, so there's no movement there. And then in the back, I've got them both screwed down and cable tied down to this aluminium plate, which goes to the sides. Got a 30 amp fuse on that one, I think, going through to just a small, like a 50 amp Anderson connector. You can see there. So, and that's all 6 square millimeter cable there, and like 15 amp continuous cable there, or something like that. So yeah, done so far. So I'm going to basically wire this onto the motorbike side now. Okay, and only probably 40 minutes or so after the last update, things are now looking pretty good. So I just added a few little touches here and there just to tidy things up. So I found myself getting semi-electrocuted quite often by touching the negative side of the motor. That's because the positive side of the battery goes straight to the motor, comes back, and you've only got a very small amount of resistance. So just put some plastic over the top there. That will also prevent the internal screw from ever kind of vibrating loose, kind of like I've done down there using the lock nuts and a little bit of heat shrink on the thread. Same thing for these guys. I was kind of concerned that they might potentially, see if I can get a bit better angle, they might potentially vibrate loose. So what I've done is got some cable ties tightly onto them, and then I've got the kind of the tails of the cable ties in such a way that they will bind if they try to loosen. So that should be fine. Tidied all this up, so we have the LED for to tell you the thing is ready to run, as well as the cable for the amp hour meter, which you can see there. Unfortunately, everything is very black. See if is there an angle that looks a bit better? Not really. So if I get the stand up, because it won't run with the stand. Get the ignition. We've got the main bike dash, as well as the amp hour meter, as well as a little red LED there that tells me things are now good to go. Everything looking pretty tidy, and yep, turning the throttle, it definitely wants to go. So yeah, pretty much looking good so far. Now just to get the rest of the bike back together.